how much you can actually think about. Like I was thinking about, all right, so I got to get there. I got to get the oxygen tank. I got to manually bag this patient. I got to like get someone to manually check their blood pressures. I got to have someone call the nearest hospital and get a travel vent. And all that happened in my brain in like seconds, which felt like, 3 years. And then it came, yeah, but like the power, the generator kicked on, which reassured me big time for like the fact that I can at least monitor this patient and not have to squeeze a bag to get air into their lungs. But like it also wasn't that reassuring. Like I have no idea how reliable this is, and I still have people in this size. Yeah, it was kind of nuts.
It was
my first day.
Like an inspection on the generator. Gosh.
Yeah, that's my first day alone as a
Adrenaline works here in the med.
If I could share a story, I was in clinic the other day, and all the patients showed up on time, and we had lovely conversations, and that was it.
And then you woke up from your dream.
Yeah, and I slept through my alarm. Oh man, Mo, what do you say we start?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Nice.
Sure. What time is it? Oh wow, it's 7:15. I guess we're all just hanging out up here. Do you want to go down there, or just hang out up here?
Yeah, we could go. We could go down.
Yeah, let's go down.
All right, I'll just
come on by, guys.
All right. Everybody is here. If you want to make your way down to the front of the stage, you're going to see three handsome gentlemen. Wow. I'm really impressed the difference between, like a month ago and now, how fast people are moving around.
I know.
It's pretty impressive. People got their virtual sea legs. All right. So most of you guys have probably seen us before. I'm James Ghattas. This is my colleague, Mohammed Omar. We were
nice to see you guys.
We pretty excited about tonight. Tonight's kind of a special night, very atypical. We don't actually have a speaker, but we want to share something super special with you guys. But first, we should just kind of talk about us, who we are. Mo?
Yeah, so we've been doing these lectures, and it's been, we've had designated speakers with designated talks. Today, we really just wanted it to be a lot more about our audience. A lot of you guys have been repeat customers, if you will, and we love it. Like, we love that there's sort of community growing around this whole thing. And, James, myself, and Juan were talking, and we were like, we need to get people on stage, especially when we're celebrating something special. Today is actually our 10th time on stage consistently in a row on Thursday at 7 p.m. I do, as James alluded to, have kind of something special to show you guys that we're really excited about. So we wanted it to be more of a conversation, have people kind of chime in, and really kind of just dive into a little bit more about, our inception, where we are now, and what we hope InVirtuo can be in the future, and hopefully will be. It really wasn't too long ago that James and I were in our fellowship together at USF in Tampa. We literally just graduated this past July, and when we first started, no one knew any. It's just like the first day of school all over again, as if you're in first grade. And pretty quickly, you hop into lectures and do this and do that and homework and see patients. And one of our first lectures, for those of you who aren't really familiar with the specialty of interventional pain, so I'm an anesthesiologist, so I just told you an anesthesiology story, but I'm also an interventional pain specialist, and that's sort of what I trained with James over the last year. A lot of what we do in our specialty is providing interventional procedures to treat pain. And what that means, it could be, needle-based procedures. It could be minimally invasive surgeries. For those of you who have been to some of our, there's neuromodulation. There's a lot of really cool things that we could do to treat pain. If I had to say what the core component of that is, what the underlying sort of skill behind it all is fluoroscopy, which is using X-ray to image the patient's body and also guide your intervention. So a lot of people, and I almost have this conversation very frequently with patients where I say, no, it's not injection like you are thinking, where it just goes into your shoulder or into your butt, right? This is a very targeted injection that's going specifically to where we think the pain is coming from. So going back to the first day, it was like the first week of fellowship, one of the first lectures we get is, about a very, very bread and butter situation like lumbar radiculopathy. And even if you don't know what that is, the point of the lecture is to show what the X-ray images look like and how you need to adjust your X-ray machine in order to get different images. And an X-ray, as many of you guys know, is just it's a 2D image, and it's supposed to represent a very complex, 3D spine. And we all, I know I looked over at James, and he was doing a really good job of pretending he knew exactly what was happening. And he looked at me, and I was like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on. But later when we got to talking, we got comfortable with each other. We, both pretty quickly admitted that we had no idea what we were looking at.
Yeah. It looks so pretty in a textbook. And to make matters even more difficult,
just a couple of hours later, we were in the procedure suite, actually doing these procedures, obviously supervised by someone who had been doing it for decades. But it really humbled me at that moment, where I'm supposed to either turn the needle, bend it, direct it this way, direct it that way, based off of the image that I see on the screen. And truthfully, I just had no idea what I was doing. That's like the absolute truth. And so, James and I, over time, really, started to become more than just colleagues, but really good friends, and we're back colleagues again, but in the metaverse. But we got talking about how that learning curve was really, really, really steep. And sure, everyone in our shoes goes through it, but maybe it doesn't have to be the same gruesome, painful process. Maybe there's a way to actually make it where you can be more comfortable doing this much more quickly. And obviously, it's 2022. There's a lot out there. I mean, you guys all get it. We're in the metaverse right now. We all have avatars. We're probably all in different cities, definitely different countries. Juan's in Venezuela right now. We're all able to meet here and do something cool. So we met some really, really cool. We have some really, really good friends of ours who are super talented. One of them is Mateus, who you'll meet in just a minute. And pretty quickly, InVirtuo came to inception, and our goal was really to, deliver a supplemental medical education, right? So our lectures are not, the style of our lectures, for example, is not mind-blowing. It's not groundbreaking in the way that we're delivering the message, but the supplementation alongside the traditional lecture, using the 3D models, using a space like this, is really what we were trying to do to accomplish flattening that learning curve. For those of you who have been here before, I mean, you've seen us have, fluoroscopy in here, for example, and spine model, talking about gout with Dr. Sanchez, who I know is in here today. And he utilized models of the foot to really demonstrate what TOF is, how painful a TOF could be and how to diagnose and manage it. We've had Nevin, who's to my left over here, who presented a research paper. And so, we've been going along week by week. Really, a lot of it is planning, but a lot of it is just creativity and just pulling the trigger and doing it. And it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun. And James and I talk about it all the time. Probably the best part of it all is kind of seeing familiar faces back on the screen again. And for those of you who are here for the first time, we obviously, you're always welcome back on here. Even when we're not here, one of our goals in the future is to be able to just have you come into the stage and reap some of its benefits. And I'm gonna pass the mic to Dr. Ghattas over here, to James.
Thank you, Mo.
Tell you a little bit more about what we got in store today. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for joining in. I mean, really, like Mo said, it's been quite the whirlwind of adventure, and I didn't realize that 10 weeks have gone by, and we've just been, rolling with the punches. People have been super interested, super intrigued. We got way more interest and outreach than we ever anticipated. I mean, you could look around the stage and you see the flyers of all the speakers that we have, a few of them of whom are here tonight. But just to give you guys perspective, we have lectures booked out through the end of the year, and we still have inquiries coming in. So there's definitely an interest out there, and there's definitely people who want to see, where InVirtuo goes. And that makes, we often have that conversation. Well, where is InVirtuo going? And InVirtuo is it's kind of this amorphous, limitless entity where I don't think we're going to be limited by one thing or one product, but really just the interest of the community is going to guide the ship, right? That being said, when you look, if you guys want to look over to the right side of the stage, or my stage left there, you'll see a graph. And what is this graph? So this graph is this has been us keeping track of all the events that we've had. And you can kind of see where, Mohammed and I kind of started out on the very left there. We had a whopping 12 people. And then very quickly, it just kind of shot up. And we've consistently had, 25 to 30 people come to these lectures every week. And it's been a mix of familiar faces and new people. So that's pretty intriguing. And then also, you can kind of see how you have these red and blue bars there. The red is the number of people who have signed up to events. And then blue is the number of people that actually attended the event. And as we've been going along, we've been getting a higher percentage yield of people who register and join the event. So we're definitely curating a following. That got us thinking that something that we're trying to do with InVirtuo is form a community. We want InVirtuo to be a place that anyone at any time, at any place, anywhere in the world can go to and maybe run into some colleagues, run into some people with similar interests, and just engage in conversation, open conversation. Something we want to do is just break down any barrier to communication or learning. And what better way to do that than using this, worldwide platform that we have. And as time goes on, and as access to, these headsets and metaverse hardware, I feel like it's just only going to become more immersive and more natural and just more organic. And I really think in the next, I'll say 10 years just as a round number, but probably sooner than that, I really think that it's just going to be second nature for us to meet in the metaverse and talk about things. I think about social media before smartphone was you had to go sit on your computer and type www.myspace.com and hopefully somebody doesn't call and kick you off the internet. But now I'll be on Instagram for 10 minutes before I even realize I opened the app consciously. So I feel like we're definitely headed in that direction where this transition is just going to be seamless. Speaking of which, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the people that have taken time out of their busy schedules. We had, yeah, exactly. That deserves a round of applause. Dr. Nevin was probably our like she was our seminal speaker. She came on and just rocked the house with this, research protocol that they'd been working on. They had published all this data, and it was like tremendous. And then we had Dr. Sanchez come and give us a pretty staple, high-yield lecture about how to manage gout, which is an incredibly painful disease of the joints. And then, as you could see, we had just a number of people ever since then. Nevin, I'd love to, if you're fine with it, just kind of share with us what your experience was like what were you thinking going into it, and then, what were your expectations, and how did it play out for you?
Yeah, sure. I guess going in, I had been to the very first talk that Mo and James had given. But it's a little bit different, and I give talks fairly regularly in real life. But it, is different and different engagement pathway. And, I think people maybe feel like they could ask questions, when you don't actually really see people. Maybe it limits when people feel inhibited in real life, maybe they're less inhibited in this space. And so I think it opens maybe some opportunities to become comfortable in this space. And as a speaker, it was, I don't know, it was kind of thrilling actually, and more fun than maybe giving a talk in real life. So no, I really enjoyed it. I gave another talk 2 weeks later that was also fun, but I would say this was more fun. An opportunity and a space that's obviously growing. And I think, like you said, your MySpace example, but I would, put an example that's even more recent, which is to say, a couple of years ago, maybe you have used Zoom as, a space to interact with people, but then COVID hit, and now we probably all use Zoom regularly and don't even think about it. And it's not, you don't spend every Zoom meeting going, figuring out how to use Zoom. It's just like a daily, well, for me, it's a daily occurrence, but probably at least weekly or monthly for everybody. And it's just, we all know how to do it. We know how you can do it from your phone or your computer or whatever. And I think, so less than 10 years for sure, that this will just be a space that almost everyone is interacting in. So
yeah,
you guys are
totally
groundbreaking,
agree.
and thank you, Matthias, for creating this space for us.
Yeah, of course.
You're a genius.
So on that note, I actually wanted to take a minute here to introduce Matthias. So Matthias is standing on my left here in the blue suit. And
Hello.
He's been kind of in the background, but he's been here all along, but he doesn't speak up because he is the brains and the architect behind everything that you see right now. He is an architect by training, but has really taken a leap into the future by becoming essentially a metaverse architect. And me, I'm a complete outsider. Well, I have been an outsider to this, and I didn't really realize just how unique his skill set is until I really started to deep dive into the virtual realm. And we're just so lucky to have met Matthias and partner up and be able to tap into his skills. It's absolutely incredible. And so as we've grown, he designed this space for a similar project that was actually kind of the pilot called Sunken Blimp, which I'll let Matthias talk about. And we kind of just latched on for a little while and started to grow, and then realized that the medical realm kind of demands its own theme and its own space. And so we sat down and we had a long conversation with Matthias one day, and he agreed to do something really, really special for us and create an entirely new space for us, which we're going to show you guys in a little while. But before we do that, I wanted to let Matthias kind of share with you his experience, how his creative design process, how he came up with this idea, and what goes into creating a beautiful realm like this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, James, for the introduction, and hello, everyone. So like it was introduced, my name is Matthias. I'm one of the co-founders of Sunken Blimp, And you guys probably have seen, the name everywhere here on the stage, Sunken stage, and you probably wondered, what the hell is this? But yeah, Glenp had been, doing spaces for a while. And then in March this year, we started having conversations in a virtual stage, which you guys are standing on. And then around the third conversation, we actually brought Dr. James, Dr. Omar to have a conversation about bridging up of the medical education. And that was exactly the conversation that spiked the idea of having these medical lectures on a virtual platform, showcasing, just like Mohammed was talking about, showcasing very complex items or pieces that are usually shown as 2D images in lectures into 3D, showcasing procedures. And then talk, we've been using this space to showcase that. And the space was not really designed for showcasing a medical procedure or different types of medical events. It served well for the purpose, right? But then in these conversations, we started discussing what would be valuable to have in a virtual environment, and then make something that is, an InVirtuo home in a way. So it's been an absolute pleasure to be having InVirtuo taking over the stage every Thursday. And I'm very, very proud to send you guys off to a new home. And this new space, just to put you guys in perspective, the idea for this came from the need of having areas for both large types of event where we have the large model showcasing a procedure, and also having more intimate conversations, presentation style, like an audience in an amphitheater type of space. And also the personal conversations, what if you sit down in a lounge and actually have a small conversation with someone? What if you have a one-on-one type of scenario? So we took all of those ideas and formulated this new space. And if you guys are ready, we can actually hop in and do the announcement of what the new space looks like.
I would love to bring on stage. Thank you, Matthias.
Of course. Thank you very much. So I'm going to put the portal here. All right. Oh, we have two portals. Oh, there we go.
No, you're good.
So if you guys want to follow me, you can click on the portal and we'll meet there.
All right. Here, Mo, do you want me to stay behind or do you want to stay behind? Yeah. So everyone that's standing here, if you look in front of you, you're going to see this gigantic orb. This is the portal to our new space, the InVirtuo Lab. So just kind of direct your attention to it and just click on this big bubble. I'll stick around until everybody's figured out a way to get in. Mo, you want to meet Matthias there? Oh, nice. All right. I think we got some folks kind of
Designed for housing InVirtuo events. And then if you guys want to follow me, I'll take you guys into a quick tour. This here is an entrance space where there could be different things going, especially a portal room. So the vision for this, is to have even other types of spaces with different scenarios, potentially even a clinic in the near future with, even more, and having a lobby that access many other places within InVirtuo. And then if you guys want to follow me, we into the center space, where this is the area where, Dr. James and Dr. Omar will talk more about it, but it can host bigger types of events, and we can showcase large procedures using all of the library of 3D models. All right, the library of 3D models that we've been building for a while now. So you guys, whoever has hosted an InVirtuo lecture before, you guys can recognize some of the models used for your presentation. And the idea is to keep growing. Every time we use some of these models, those get added to the library. And then we'll always be adding these new tools for education here. And I just wanted to mention something. Earlier, we were on stage. I was talking to James, and I recognized what just by being around and seeing these models being part of the conversation, I started learning things that I kid you not, I would never. That is a fat cell, or any sort of that. In case I was just looking at an image, and oh yeah, please like the space, that gives a really cool animation. And yeah, so after this large area, if you guys want to follow me to the side here, this is where we have a side corridor where other lounges are going to be, used for smaller conversations. So these double height ceiling, we can have this sort of informal conversation depending on talking about in the space. So we have 4 of these, 2 on each side. And then last but not least, actually, we have here the amphitheater. So in the very front of the space, and we can summon everyone again.
Yep. Gosh, I love that feature.
It's too powerful.
I wish I could do that in real life.
And this is our amphitheater. So this allows a host or a different speaker to present their PowerPoint or different presentation, research paper, and have an audience, sitting, watching this presentation in more of a amphitheater type of scenario.
I think one of my favorite features is the my laser pointer lightsaber.
The laser pointer.
Oh, that's a big laser pointer.
That's what she said.
I set you up for that one, didn't I?
Actually, something cool that Matt did is he was able to incorporate actual stadium style seating. So if you guys look at me, I'm actually sitting down in a lovely chair. I hope Stephen figured it out. Nevin, you figured it out. Yeah, so we can sit here and watch a full-on lecture as if you are as if you're in a conference room or an auditorium. It's quite impressive.
Wow.
Thank you, Brandon.
Extra genius status.
So I believe that the space is pretty self-explanatory, but that is the idea. One space that is very modular and flexible to house different ways of presenting medical information in a way. And then I would like to bring it over to James again. Thank you so much. The introduction as well as the allowing me to showcase the space. And then I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to use this space for?
Thank you, Mateus. And again, this is a real testament to, Mateus' skill. I mean, I had the opportunity to kind of just briefly look and figure out what goes into creating something like this. And it is not simple. It requires years of in-depth training, hours upon hours upon hours of coding, you know, baking in textures, figuring out like how the light, you know, things that we don't even really notice in the real world until you go into, you know, let's say a poorly designed virtual space, and you can tell it looks cartoonish. But here, I mean, just the way the light falls into the room, the way it plays along the textures, you know, the perspectives, the way that the light plays on the glass, like, all these things are absolutely incredible. And then, Mateus, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, that's just a small facet. I mean, just how you go about figuring out how to shape the space, the flow, you know, what's facing what direction, and how to guide people naturally without them really realizing that something is drawing them in this direction. It takes a lot of talent, and I'm really grateful for it. And, you know, obviously standing here on the front stage, we're all familiar with this. Last 10 lectures, it would be pretty cool to be able to stand up here and look in front of me and see my audience sitting down and just enjoying, you know, the material that we're giving. But really, this space it's really game for what we can do in the future. And for instance, if we go back to the center of the space, into that massive wide open space, that was designed after an initiative we have, which is to host research symposiums and medical conferences. In fact, we're actually in negotiation with the Florida Society of Neurology to host their next research symposium. And so if you can imagine, in that open space over there, where this gallery of models would be lined with case reports and research papers and abstracts with effective authors standing in front of them. And you can walk around and you can, you know, read. You could read through an entire abstract. You could engage with the author right there, and you can do all this from the comfort of your own home. So amazing. And then Mateus was showing us, you know, the breakout rooms on the side. And I think where that becomes very special is, let's say we're hosting, you know, a certain, let's say we're hosting a certain company or entity that has a very specific type of procedure or surgery, and we want to offer a space for them to see how it, or for doctors and healthcare providers to sit down. So you can, you know, with tools, you know, with imagery that can just kind of play through, you can interact with it. Or it could be a discussion space, you know, where you have a round setting of chairs and you'd sit down and you can have an intimate discussion with, you know, a representative from that company or experts in that field or what have you. Or if you just want to meet with your friends, just sit in that area, have a conversation. I think that's great. Mo, what else? What would you add to that?
Can you hear me like this?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, so the other thing too is that, you know, right now what we've been doing is, you know, James and I have just been hosting very dedicated lectures. Again, but we've had amazing speakers who are so involved with so many different things. One of the things that we are encouraging and we already have people sort of in with is either, you know, Nevin or Dr. Randy Sanchez, if they wanted to host, say, their students or their colleagues for a very specific, even private event, so that they can, you know, have their own, you know, little event where they're, you know, if it's work related or academic related, whatever it is, we can host private events for them in this stage as well. And the space is obviously made to cater such a thing. So in those breakout rooms, it could be very customized to say whatever, you know, Nevin wants to have. And so we would sit there, and it won't be, you know, the old James and Mo introducing a speaker is cool and all, but it kind of gives this new facet to the stage and to InVirtuo as a whole, where you and whatever it is you want to accomplish with your own group. And that's really, honestly, really exciting because it allows people to coming not just on a Thursday live at 7 p.m. every Thursday, see you there, but a Tuesday afternoon or a Saturday or a Sunday if you're a huge nerd, you know. So,
but it makes me think of like when I was in med school, we had a kind of interesting curriculum that wasn't lecture based. It was group study based. And your like lifeline was the 3 or 4 people to study with.
right.
And you guys had to kind of line your lives up because you had to agree to meet, you know, at the library at a certain time and agree to stay there for a certain amount of hours at a day and eat lunch together and all these things. That required a lot of commitment. I mean, if with my study group, you know, wherever I was, and you know, I could look at my study partners and we could discuss material and pull up models and pull up, you know, papers and test questions and things like that. That would have been pretty incredible.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of you may not even realize this. I don't know if you guys have actually ventured out into spatial and what else you can do, but you know, James and I will meet on this stage to talk about things. So we literally bust out a notepad. We can bust out a notepad right now and actually use if you have a headset, you can use your actual fingers to write and draw. And so we brainstorm a lot. Well, not on this stage. This stage is brand new. On the last stage, but yeah, we get together and just meet here, and that takes away. You know, even though we live in Tampa, even though we both live in Tampa, 5 minutes away from each other, a night where we normally wouldn't actually meet or talk, we're able to get on our stage and actually brainstorm while taking notes, while like jotting down our ideas, and it's really productive. And so we want to sort of expand that capability to everyone else who's interested. So whether you have residents, whether you are teaching a group of nurse practitioners in your group about something, or you want to educate anyone about anything, private setting, it's all really doable, and I'm honestly very excited about that.
Yeah, me too, I have to say. Well,
I have a question.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
When you're talking about hosting a conference and having, you know, a poster session, like right now, I'm assuming everyone in the space is talking.
Yes.
How does it work to have those private individual poster conversations when maybe 20 different people are trying to talk to 20 other people?
That's actually a really good question.
Right now, we just
Go ahead,
turned
Nicholas.
on spatial audio just to showcase. I'm close to you, so you hear me quite well. But as I pull away or close to you guys,
Oh, I see.
you can really start my voice come closer and
Yep.
further away, just like it happens in the real world. So just like that, it allows for some exploratory feeling to it. You come close to someone to start a conversation, and multiple people can have so many different conversations at once.
Sure. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. But that's a good question, though.
What do you
I think I turned it off again. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that we were hoping to hear from you guys is, you know, just between me, James, Juan, Theus, and some of the rest of our team, one thing that comes up often is we get distracted by, you know, ideas and possibilities. And one of the things that we wanted today was to just hear from you guys about, especially for those who have been here before, what you may have come up with, or what ideas you kind of like, just feedback in general.
Okay. That was my
Oops. Sure.
Problems with the
guys. I have no new ideas for now. Maybe I will have one soon and I will communicate it to you. But for now, I just wanted to say that the improvement of the platform has been great. I mean, the stage, the one before is amazing, but this one is incredible. And I'm really happy to see those changes. I've been here like 3 or 4 times. Um, I saw you on Insta. I think that's the way I knew you. And well, um, I know that maybe some people don't speak here because they are nervous, like I am, like I'm shaking. But I really wanted that this looks great. The work behind all of this is just a lot, and I admire you for that. I hope that a lot of people can come here in the future and see what the what the what the future is coming for education. I mean, this is huge. I'm a urban and I can see how this kind of platform could be useful for my career. For example, like the I don't know how to say it in English, but that's like the models we made, like with you know, all the all of those materials. I know Mateus can relate because he's an architect. And
Absolutely.
yeah, this is this is great, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you so much. Really, we really do appreciate that, and I definitely recognize if our thoughts before. One person I also really wanted to bring attention to and give props where it's due is our project manager Juan, who's sitting in the audience. Juan, can you come up here? I'll make his. But Juan's been working. Here he is. How you doing, Juan? Juan has been working tirelessly on the back end to take all of this possible in and week out. James and I have to remember. We have to remember sometime that. So Juan is in Venezuela. He's not a manager. He's our good friend. We talk hours upon hours every day without even realizing. And it's kind of the fun way, Juan. It's fun for me. When I first started, we were nothing, right? We were nothing. We had to become something, and then two, let people know we're something in the simplest terms. And Juan would literally reach out to people individually. And just to show you how far we've come on the back end, I mean, this is not a simple task to accomplish all of this. But Juan has been able to automate so many of the processes so that this can become sustainable on our end, right? James and I are both working full, and many of you guys know in medicine that means more than 40 hours. But because of the way Juan automated our and the amount of workload he takes on has just been incredible. And because of it, we're able to meet you guys here every week with some really substantial material, not just an amazing lecture, new models and actual people in the audience, many who are starting to show up week in and week out. So I just really wanted a second here, Juan, and thank you, Juan.
Round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Yeah. And guys, Juan is no joke, by the way. I mean, Juan's our project manager, but I wake up in the morning with a sense of urgency, like, oh my gosh, I got to get up because I have a list of things to do that Juan has issued us, and I got to take care of it. Otherwise, we'd fall behind, man.
For sure.
But anyways, we're coming up on the hour, so I just wanted to again just say to everyone, thank you to Mo, Juan, Mateus, everybody. It's just super special that we get to be here. If you want to hang out for a little bit, free. I see, Mateus, you pulled up a model there. Did you want to say something about it?
Oh no, that was just in line of the conversation about the potential of having models here and related to architecture. And I was like, all right, I need to showcase the model. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave you take a look at the space in the model format too. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Cool. But yeah, everybody, keep this open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So this home is your home now. So welcome.
Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Yeah, baby.
All right, I'm going to go play with some
Thank you
knees.
very much, everyone.
Guys, have a good night.